The Renters Reform Act is coming in several phases. So what's happening in phase 2 and what are the financial impact of these changes? Hi, I'm Kimberly Shapcott, qualified chartered accountant, property investor and entrepreneur. Let's sit down and have a chat. The Renters Reform Act is coming in several phases. So what's coming in phase 2? Well, there's a couple of key things that are coming in phase 2, which you'll see now. So we've got the regional rollout of the database for landlords and local councils, and we've got a further rollout of the database and introduction of the Ombudsman. So what does this mean from a financial basis? It probably just means more costs is the honest answer. Now, in terms of their rollout plan, let's have a look what they're telling us. Well, they're going to roll it out in late 2026, which potentially may actually be slightly delayed, whether that kicks in this year or whether it kicks in next year. It will be mandatory for all private rented sector landlords. So it's not something you can choose to do, it's something you will have to do. And they will be required to pay an annual fee, which will be confirmed close to the launch. Fee-wise, we have no clue whether it'll be something like the £50, which is what we pay Companies House now for the annual filing fee, whether it'll be something like £40, which is what we pay for the Information Commissioner's Officer. That's the sort of area I would expect it to approach. So we probably kind of just need to be budgeting into our rental income side of things that there will be this additional cost to our business. Whether this is per property, whether this is per landlord, don't know how it's going to impact joint landlords, whether they will both have to pay a fee or not. There's, as you can see, a few question marks. As we hear, we'll let you know close to the time to make sure that you are fulfilling your compliance requirements. Now, the regulations are mandating registration, payment of the fee, and provision of some key information. That key information is going to include the landlord's contact details, which will be capturing relevant information from all joint landlords as well, which we've mentioned just now. The property details, including the full address, type of property, number of bedrooms, number of households, and confirming whether the property is occupied and furnished. So even when you've got empty properties that are not being rented at the moment, it looks like they are going to be on the register as well. Safety information, they're going to be wanting your gas, electric and energy certificates, so tenants are assured of safety and energy efficiency of the property. So this is a full information pack in some ways on the property itself. So something to be aware of. You don't need to do anything yet, but it's something that is coming and we will have to do later in the year. Secondly, we are looking at the introduction of the Ombudsman. So what are they telling us about that at the moment? They're looking at establishing a private rented sector landlord during phase 2, and this is someone who will provide a redress scheme service for private rented sector tenants when things go wrong. It's supporting landlords with tools, guidance and training on handling complaints from tenants early. So theoretically it's trying to help landlords. Whether it helps landlords or tenants, different questions. As with all these new schemes, it will be mandatory for landlords to register with the Ombudsman. Based on how the system's going, landlords will be required to fund it. So therefore there will be some sort of registration fee to be registered with the Ombudsman, which they will then be using to fund their ability to deliver these services to landlords and to tenants. As you can see, we are looking at it happening in 2 stages. So stage 1 will be happening in the next 12 to 20 months, where they'll be looking to choose the scheme administrator to run this service, and then that will give them time to scale up. So we're not expecting this to be kicking in until 2027, 2028, as they get the system set up and everything in place. And then stage 2 will require landlords to be members of the new service, and they expect it to be in 2028 so that the service can then be delivered. So over the next 2-3 years, we're expecting the new landlord registration service to come in, which will potentially be later this year or next year in 2027. So there'll be an extra fee that we'll be having on an annual basis from 2027. And then by 2028, there'll be also the Ombudsman service, which means there'll be another fee for the Ombudsman service. So as well as our Making Tax Digital side of things, which is adding time and cost to us landlords, we're also going to be having an additional fee each year for our registration and an additional Ombudsman fee for our registration, as well as our data protection, registration, which you'll need if you're doing your own properties as well. So there is adding up costs here quite a lot for doing things with your properties, suggesting actually you need to have a small portfolio to be covering all of these costs. You need a very healthy one property to be covering all of these different costs going forward, potentially, depending how much they are. If they're all £50 here, £50 there, it's just starting to add up depending on the profits you're actually making on your property investment. They are the two key changes in phase 2. So this is going to be coming over the next 2-3 years, and as these changes start to come out in more detail, we'll obviously go into a bit more detail so that you know what costs to be expecting to make sure you're complying with the compliance side of things and how that is impacting you and the finances of your property investments. Hopefully you've discovered what is happening in phase 2 of the Renters Reform Act. If you have any questions, then please do leave a comment. Please like the video and do subscribe to the channel. And let's make tax less taxing. Let's make tax less taxing.